Welcome to Subramani. So, if you are a new young trader stroke investor, welcome to the markets. It's a nice new place where you are paying very little fees compared to what we paid in the 1970s, 80s, into the mid 90s also. And after that, prices have crashed, and today you have accounts which charge you zero brokerage. But there are still some costs which you pay, right? There is STT that you pay, spreads on shares. When you go and see a share price and the bid ask offer, as they call it, is say 97,100, that 3 rupees is the difference that you pay. Now, if you are not in the top scripts, then this gap could keep increasing, right? So, if you are in a Reliance, it could be 5 paise or 10 paise, or Indian Oil or SBI, HDFC could be very low. But when you go down the ladder and there are other smaller companies, you will pay a bigger spread. You will pay some kind of a platform fee. Let's not call it brokerage, but you will pay some kind of a fee depending on the number of transactions you do and the volume that you do, etc. Yes, the brokerage in many cases has come very close to zero, but it is still there. You can then there is always this taxation. If you are lucky and you're making money, then there is short-term capital gain or long-term capital gain, and in case you're holding on to the share and you get a dividend, then the dividends are today taxable. Even earlier it was taxable, but the tax was being paid by the company at a rate which was perhaps higher than the rate at which you will pay if you're a young investor. If you're an older investor paying 40% income tax, then perhaps you're worse off. But very clearly, most of us think by being in the markets, at least we are signaling to the market that we are capable of beating the index, right? Only because we think we are capable of picking up shares which are we will outperform the index, is what we think. I'm not even getting into whether we will or we will not. However, at this stage, I would advise you to do a 1,500 per month SIP in a fund which is an index fund like the UTI index fund or the SBI index fund, which are the low cost funds, and just do an SIP 1,500 rupees. I'm not saying do a bigger amount, and increase it by 10% every year. That's all. Just start that, and at some stage later on, you can compare the performance of that fund versus what you are doing. That's, I think, is a fair thing to do. At least you have a basis to compare, not just saying market itna upar gaya. It doesn't matter. You participated in that upar jana also, right? So that way it is useful. But remember, am I saying you can't buy a bunch of shares that will go up? It is. I mean, in the last few months, I would say, it is at least looking very easy. I wouldn't say it has become very easy, and it is looking very easy, but you may still have been better off with an index, because you don't know what to buy in pharma. I mean, pharma is a good industry, but what to buy? Should you buy Dr. Reddy? Should you buy Sun Pharma? Should you buy Cipla, Cadila? It's very difficult to say. So here I'm not getting into why you should be doing passive investing. I'm saying please do a passive investing. And then after 5 years you can compare notes saying whether the passive fund has done well or have you done well. Here let me give you some tips on what you should be doing. One, even though brokerage rates are low and all that is true, keep costs low. Go as low cost as possible and trade less frequently. If you're doing 5 trades a day, make it 3 trades. I'm not saying you will come from 5 to 0, but keep reducing, because the number of trades actually is not good. There is a basic conflict of interest between you as an investor versus your relationship manager. Your relationship manager makes money when there is velocity. When you buy A, sell B, buy C, sell A, keep doing this churn. For you, sitting steady makes more money. So basic inherent conflict is there. So trade less frequently. Whatever be the brokerage, even if you're paying flat brokerage, trade less frequently. It is worthwhile, because when you keep booking short-term profits, very short-term profits, you will keep paying tax on all of that, and the clerical work of computing all the tax from various places wherever you are, they will all give you statements, but you will still have to collate it, give it to your chartered accountant or file it yourself. And today they're asking for transaction wise details, ISIN number of the share that you bought, the ISIN number of the share that you're holding. You need all that. So the clerical work keeps increasing, so churning does not really help you in the longer run. See how much of the other advantage of being in a mutual fund growth option is you pay tax only when you withdraw, whereas when you hold direct equity you pay tax every year on the dividend. Of course, I'm not saying there is always a cost in the mutual fund, it is not zero, but you have to offset the two, between the dividend tax and the cost of giving it to a mutual fund and holding it in the mutual fund. I'm assuming that the fund is doing well, or we are in an index fund, just stick to the index fund. Don't just blindly buy tips. Like I said, in a pharma company you do not know what to buy. Do you buy Dr. Reddy? Do you buy Sun Pharma? These are not tips. I'm just giving you examples. So similarly, many of us, when we talk of, say, HDFC Bank or Asian Paints. It is not a tip. These are shares which we have seen, perhaps holding, perhaps sold. So right. So if somebody gives you a tip, the first question to ask is, why is that person giving you a tip? If you can't answer that question, don't take the tip. It's not worth it. At the lowest level at which you are trading, and if you're trading in shares which are not so frequently traded, believe me, technical analysis does not work. Yes, you will hear a lot of there are a lot of videos, you can read blogs which will talk about reversals, channel, double top, shoulder, breakout and breakdown, whatever, you hear all those words, but it may not work. Let it work for this ultra sophisticated fund manager, let him use it, misuse it, whatever, but it may not work for you. But it is always true that you feel like buying shares which are constantly going up, which have gone up in the past, but it may not be an indicator that it should be sold. And a share which has not gone up at all may be a good buy. So be careful about when somebody tells you, oh, the trend is this is going up, so trend is your friend, so buy. It is not always true, right? Trend may not always be your friend. See what you're buying, understand what you're buying, and then buy. Over a long period of time, yes, buying shares will always make you money, but you have to know which share to buy. Some shares can go up and come down and be very violent. And these are all shares which you will receive as tips also, right? So be careful about that. Now, I'm not saying because you should not listen to technicals, you should get carried away by fundamentals, because if value investing does not work for, say, first 4 or 5 years of your life, the problem is you will lose patience, and you will think something is wrong with value investing. So don't get carried away by looking at price to earning ratio, asset price, right? So because some of the best companies which are doing well now, say Amazon, Alphabet and Facebook, these companies have no assets. So all your asset related ratios make no sense, because these companies are making money without those assets, right? So PE, growth, PE and all, be very careful. Also understand that PE is equal to 1 divided by yield, and if yield is 0, PE is meaningless. That's the problem today, right? Whatever you are buying, when you are buying a share, think of the share as a business. So if you're buying Indigo, ask yourself, will people stop flying because there is a pandemic, or will people come back to flying 6 months from now, 1 year from now? Let us assume that all the world has been vaccinated, and it means it will become, coronavirus would be something like flu. It is going to be there. We will learn to live with it. We will say, oh, somebody has coronavirus flu, it's a very contagious one, so please stay at home. Earlier, people with flu would go to office. Now they would say, oh, it could be coronavirus, so please stay at home, right? So these kind of testing kits will be available, which you will be able to test at home. So it will be something which we conquer. At that stage, will people travel again by Indigo? It's got market share. Will people buy Maruti cars? Will people go to movies? The answer is yes. So be careful. Preparing for coronavirus is something, but preparing your portfolio for post-coronavirus is also very important. So do that also. Beware of stocks which are stories and stocks which are old. So somebody will come and tell you what a great story ITC was and how so much money was made. But remember, last 3-4 years ITC has not made money. So even on an SIP basis, you would have made more money in Siemens or Cummins than you would have made in ITC. You would have made more money in HUL than you would have made money in ITC. I'm not recommending, but remember that Twitter and Facebook are all full, or rather the whole of social media is full of stories. Be careful about stories, or about that new biotech company in Hyderabad which is going to be a great one, and now there is a private placement offer, or an HDFC Securities whose shares are worth buying even at 10,000 rupees because it's very profitable. You will keep hearing all these stories, right? So be very careful. Buy only listed shares. With listed shares, at least you will have liquidity. With unlisted shares, chances are you may not even have liquidity. So if you buy, say, an HDFC Securities today at 9,000 rupees or 10,000 rupees, whatever be the price, I have no clue. I do not have it. So let me tell you that also. But tomorrow if you want to sell, you may not find liquidity, especially if the market is down. You may say, oh, abhi 7,000 bhav chal raha hai, and that is, your guess is as good as mine. It is not a market discovered price. You cannot do an SIP in a HDFC Securities share because it's available not in the listed market, it's available in the grey market, right? So be careful about these things. When you're investing for the long run, remember, markets go down very fast, but they go down much longer. Markets go down very fast, but they go up much longer, right? So it is very important to let your winners run for a long time. Just because you're making some 10 rupees, it doesn't mean you should sell. If you bought a share at a particular price, let's say you bought Indigo airline at 1,300 or 1,400, it doesn't mean you should sell it at 1,600 because the pandemic is getting worse. Prepare a part of your portfolio for post coronavirus. Some portion of your portfolio, like the cash that you hold, is preparing yourself for the coronavirus portfolio and for the coronavirus time. And buying shares like Indigo is preparing yourself for the post coronavirus. Caveat here, I have shares of Indigo and I'm not giving this as a tip. I have it, that's in my portfolio. If you put your portfolio, if you put say 1% of your portfolio in Bitcoins, what impact will it have? I don't know, but those who want to experiment should experiment with a very small amount, and you should do that on a SIP basis rather than on a lump sum basis. Please also understand that you will find a lot of articles written by economists and all of those people saying market has gone much ahead of its time, or market is not understanding the impact of COVID or things like that. These people don't understand markets. Markets can be ahead or behind its times. Normally it is ahead. So market, if you would see that there's a big major coronavirus and the market is going up, it means the market is seeing post coronavirus what is going to happen. Or somehow corona has been conquered in say UK, US, France, and therefore those markets are going up. So people think, oh, now our markets will also go up. But if our markets never went down, then the chances are it may not go up, right? So be careful. Don't try correlating the number of cars produced to how well the economy is doing and all that. Let the economists play this game. You are here to make money. So you keep trading, you keep looking at all these things, but don't worry too much. Your benchmark should be the index fund in which you have started an SIP. So suppose you have doing an SIP of 1,500 rupees in the index or Sensex or Nifty, whatever, and you're putting say 15,000 per month in the equity markets. It's a good way to compare as to how you where you stand at the end of 1 year or 2 years or 3 years. Keep comparing regularly and realize that, oh, if you don't have any great edge, why waste time in picking stocks? You might as well pick the whole index, right? That is going to be the benchmark against which you are going to judge yourself, right? So having done all this, you will at some stage wonder whether you should be doing an active investing or a passive investing. Thank you.